Now, if you're thinking about moving to San Diego, a lot of people want to move out here for the beach, the coast, you know, all these little coastal cities that are going through San Diego. Today, we're going to hop into 5 coastal cities. Compare them all and go through 3 different criteria to help you figure out which one's best for you. We're gonna jump into price points and price per square foot, so you have an idea of actually what you're paying out there. We're gonna get into kind of the convenience / amenities to let you know, is it convenient? What amenities are around? What are people who are living there? What are they up to? What are they doing? And then the third one is kind of our own little thing that we came up with, a beach score. It's very scientific. I just made it up this morning, but we'll give you the breakdown of what each rating is and how the beaches kind of rank throughout these 5 coastal cities. So let's get into it right now.
First off, we're going to talk about La Jolla, which is the southernmost town that we're going to talk about today, and is also the most expensive. The average price being around $4 million for a detached house in La Jolla, which is around $1,300 a square foot. Obviously, in La Jolla, you're getting a lot of views, you're getting a lot of bigger homes, so that average price is luxury homes.
And one thing about the homes in La Jolla, you have a bunch of different neighborhoods. To the south, you have Bird Rock, you have Mirrorlands, you have La Jolla Shores, you have other little spots, Mount Soledad. So there's little micro neighborhoods within there. Obviously, the closer you get to the beach, the less, you know, elevation you have, and then it just kind of goes up this big hill. Now, hopping into amenities and convenience. First off, I'll start with the negative. I think La Jolla is one of the least convenient areas that we're going to cover today because it's kind of difficult. Like when we were filming down there, we made a whole La Jolla vlog cruising in, and we were always talking about traffic getting in and out, and like literally as we were cruising down, break out the camera, we gotta film this because we're literally hitting traffic going in, because there's not any, you know, there's like basically one main road that'll get you to the freeway and get you back. So there's not a lot of different ways around. Now you can cut down through PB, you can go north up Torrey Pines and kind of go coastal section if you want, but you'll find your own ways when you're living there. But that's one of the negatives of La Jolla.
One of the reasons too, like Chris mentioned, there's a lot of just like side streets going in and out. All the other cities we're gonna talk about, the 5 freeway cuts these cities in half. So it's convenient on either side of the freeway, where La Jolla is just a little bit further off and just takes a little bit longer to get in.
One amenity that La Jolla does have just to the north end is the Torrey Pines Reserve. So it's just south of Del Mar, which is the next city we'll get into. But there's no direct access. You're actually gonna have to go up and around and then kind of park to the north side to get in. There's a little bit of access, you could find your ways, but the main access is gonna be just to the north. And up there you have a bunch of hiking, and once again, beautiful views, just a really good way to get out and about and explore kind of this section of San Diego. And then also you have Torrey Pines Golf Course right there. So you have, what is it, the Farmers Open? What comes every year? I think it's still called the Farmers Open. We just had that cruise through a few weeks ago, but beautiful course. If you're a San Diego resident as well, you get a much better rate. So
San Diego proper though.
San Diego proper.
It's not county,
nope.
It's city.
So La Jolla would work. So if you're living in La Jolla, you're gonna get that locals rate there.
And then as for amenities in kind of downtown coastal La Jolla, you have a lot of like local restaurants, also some kind of smaller chains. Duke's is one of my favorite down there, but you also have George's, which is a super popular restaurant. And there's a ton of just kind of that smaller shops, restaurants down there. And if you want kind of that big box store, malls, all that, all you got to do is go east of the 5, and you've got UTC Mall. You've got a ton of amenities in that area as well.
But nothing like, none of this is directly within La Jolla proper. So pro, con, maybe you don't like that in your neighborhood. Maybe you do want to drive a little bit. You just kind of want that small town kind of feeling. This might be a good spot. Now hopping into our scientific beach score. La Jolla is going to come in at 7.5. And the scale's out of 10, by the way. I didn't mention that. It's not out of 100 or anything. So 7.5. And the 4 criteria we're using is access, parking, is it touristy, is it easy to get to, easy to use these actual beaches. So La Jolla is basically split in 2. The north part of La Jolla Shores, that whole area. Although it does get a bit touristy during the summer months and whatnot, kayakers, and you know, you have surf schools and stuff out there, but it's a beautiful big stretch of beach. There's a parking lot right there. It's fairly easy to get to, whereas once you go south, like La Jolla Cove and down, it's
mostly cliffs.
Mostly cliffs. It's rocky. When we were filming down there, we were looking for the actual Bird Rock, which the little section of La Jolla is named after. And you walk down the stairs and it's literally just big boulders. There's no beach at all. There's obviously going to be some little surf breaks here and there that you're going to find if you are surfing. But although The terrain is beautiful, the ease of access is not. So southern portion gets a low score, northern portion gets a little bit higher score, averaging them out 7.5.
And we gave it a little extra half point because it's one of the only spots in San Diego with really good snorkeling. La Jolla Cove is on that kind of right on the border of those southern and northern ports. And it's got stairs down into this little cove. It's crystal clear water a lot of times of the year. It's very cold, but this used to be our go-to activity during the summer. My parents are big underwater scuba diving and snorkeling fans, so we'd spend a lot of time down there.
So if you are thinking about moving to San Diego, and maybe it's one of these coastal cities that we're talking about, you want to get that conversation started and really get the ball rolling, feel free to reach out. We are a real estate team right here in San Diego. You can call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We'll hop on a Zoom call and really get you dialed in. Even if you just want to start that conversation, you're a few years out, maybe a year out, whatever it might be. We hop on with clients all the time and like really just see, sometimes they do end up moving out here, sometimes not, but starting that conversation is step number one. So be sure to reach out. We got your back when making the move here to San Diego.
Next up, just to the north of La Jolla, you've got Del Mar. Del Mar is actually one of the more iconic cities. I guess La Jolla is too, but Del Mar is a name that a lot of people know. You've got the racetrack, you've got the Del Mar Fair, well, San Diego County Fair now, but Del Mar is a really cool town. It is next up on the most expensive cities in San Diego, coastal San Diego. Average price right around $3.9. You got $1,475 a square foot on average in Del Mar. A lot of this is Del Mar has a lot of oceanfront homes, where not all of the places we're going to talk about today have that. Like on the sand oceanfront homes, which we don't see very often in San Diego.
And part of Del Mar, people think of Del Mar proper, which is the city of Del Mar. It's a super small sliver. This we're taking 92014, which is a bigger portion of Del Mar. So you have like Del Mar Heights, you have a few other areas like a little bit further inland. So if you just took the city of Del Mar, I think that number would be higher, but you're averaging a few of these other little areas too. And Cassidy already mentioned one of the big amenities, which is the fairgrounds just to the north in Del Mar. They have all kinds of events there. I remember as a kid growing up, we'd always go to the Del Mar Fair, that's what it used to be called, and they have it during the summertime. Go there, get some, what are they called? Funnel cakes, churros too, but funnel cakes or anything fried. Cassie always says you get anything fried there.
I think it's Chicken Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, fries Kool-Aid, fries,
everything.
Whatever you want.
It's got
Ice
everything
cubes.
there, yeah. They also have the races. There's actually a few race seasons here, so go and bet on some ponies. They also have a new venue. It's called The Sound. So it's one of North County's only, I mean there's a handful, but one of North County's only music venues. So they had just opened up, it's on the fairgrounds, and they're bringing in some good acts there. So if you want to like a little entertainment, that is right there as well.
And as for amenities, you've got, which is one of the newer ones, you've got One Paseo, which is kind of a higher end shopping center. And then right next to that, you have Del Mar Highlands Town Center, which has a ton of restaurants, grocery stores, a lot of just amenities that you need around town.
Del Mar Highlands Town Center, the big, I think it's called Sky Deck, where they have a bunch of indoor restaurants and stuff. They have this big center bar. So we've been there for like, our friends are having birthdays or whatever. Go grab a drink there, and then you pick one of the restaurants on the outside and go enjoy some meal there.
And for the beach score of Del Mar, we're gonna give it a 7, just a little bit lower than La Jolla. But Del Mar, it's kind of a mixed bag. One of the big parts of this is that there's not a ton of big beaches in Del Mar. They all tend to be a little bit smaller. So parking, access, not that great. Pretty stretches of beach, definitely. Just the access is a little bit tougher. You do have Dog Beach to the north, which is the only off-leash dog beach in kind of that North County area, coastal area. So a lot of folks go there, let their dogs run around in the water. Overall, it's just kind of a little bit lower than some of the other beaches we're gonna talk about. Next up, we have Solana Beach, once again, just north of Del Mar, and a little bit more affordable. You've got it average price right around $3.5 million. Price per square foot still around that $1,400 a square foot price point. This is another stretch where you have oceanfront homes. They are not on the beach oceanfront homes. They are on the bluff oceanfront homes, so not quite as cool as the ones in Del Mar, but awesome views, obviously, and just a lot of that kind of coastal feel.
And two things about the housing in Solana Beach. Right on the coast is one of the areas where you have the biggest stretch, I would say, of oceanfront condos. So there's a big section on the southern portion of Solana Beach, where it's all condos, so huge condo complexes. So it's a lot more affordable than that $3.5 million. And then if you go a little bit further east, there's a few master plan communities as well where you can get into Solana Beach and access all of this stuff, all of the amenities and whatnot, for a much more affordable price point. So compared to La Jolla, Del Mar, once you get into Solana Beach, that's when you start getting, there are more affordable options as you're going a little bit further from the beach. And amenities wise for Solana Beach, one what we're standing at right now, we could see Solana Beach from here. We're actually standing in the next section. I'll tease that. You guys could figure that out. It's north of Solana Beach, but is the San Alejo Lagoon. So recently they revamped this whole place. There's trails going all the way around. If you're running, if you just even want to bring the family out, like cruise around these trails, go. It's beautiful out here. It's just big open. On the other side, there's Amy's Canyon, which is this cool little slot canyon. Just look that up. But you can bring your little guys in there and beautiful views from the top. But that is accessible from Solana Beach as well. Depending on which, there's a few neighborhoods on the coast, there's a few neighborhoods inland where they do have trailheads that connect all those. So you have access to all that. And like I said, it's a big loop now. It used to just be on the southern side and then there was some on the northern side, but now it's all the way around. There's even a bridge going underneath the 5 freeway that does connect it underneath there too. So I think it's a huge amenity. It's just some more outdoor space that they're never going to build on. They're never going to do anything to. It's just going to always be there for views, for using, for walking, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's huge to have that here.
So Chris mentioned that all these towns have their own like coast highway where they got a bunch of local kind of that downtown area. Solana Beach has an extra one because it has Cedros, which is just 1 block over, just on the other side of the train tracks. And there's some wine spots, there's a brewery, there's a bunch of restaurants in there, but they also have Belly Up, which is a really cool music venue. You get some smaller acts in there, but it is a really cool spot. Some of the acts that we've seen there too, Donovan Frankenreiter is there pretty much every December, so we've seen him a whole bunch. Johnny Lang, a blues singer, and some of the acts that start small and get big. Mumford & Sons was there a long time ago. So you do get a little bit of a mix of different artists, but it's just a really cool spot.
Yeah, I've been there to see one of the Almond Brothers. I think it was Greg Almond, not exactly sure, but it was a killer show nonetheless. Seen some DJs there.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon plays there.
His band's called.
I mean, the hits keep coming. So anyways, it's a cool little venue to have right there in Solana Beach. Now hopping into the beach score, unfortunately, locals don't, well, maybe they'll like us saying this, but we just actually took a half point off right now, right before we filmed this, but it's getting a 6 because it's some of the least access in all the beaches that we're talking about. There are a few stairs going down. You do have Fletcher Cove, which actually might get a little bit better as they're dredging right now. They're actually adding more beach to the beach. They're adding, you know, it's going to be
sand.
wider, more sand to the beach. So it's going to be a little bit bigger beach, but Fletcher Cove is like the main jam there, where it's like the main access point where you got like parking lots, like pretty accessible. There's bathrooms there and that kind of stuff. There's some access to the north as well, but for the most part, it's lined by bluffs. So you're not going to get a ton of touristy, you know, like Fletcher Cove obviously would be, but all the other little access points are going to be pretty, like, they're not private, but they're pretty quiet. So as far as access, beautiful beaches. All these beaches are beautiful. Don't take it the wrong way. But since we're judging on convenience, access, kind of usability, all that kind of stuff, we're giving it a 6.
Next up, you have one of my favorite beach cities in San Diego, and that's Cardiff by the Sea. And it is getting more and more affordable. It's at 2.65 is the average for detached houses in Cardiff. That's right around $1,300 a square foot. And part of this is you have really cool, one of my favorite neighborhoods in San Diego, which is Poinsettia Heights. I don't even know if people actually call it that anymore, but that's what it was originally when it was built in the 60s and 70s. And it is just east of the 5, and homes tend to be a little bit smaller. That's why that price per square foot is still up there, close to the La Jollas and Del Mars. So you're getting a little less house. There are obviously exceptions to that rule, but as you get to the west side of the freeway, you have a big mix of smaller kind of beach bungalows, original, and kind of larger newer homes. And they all have, not all, a lot of them have really killer views because the walking district is all one giant hill that goes up behind kind of the amenities of Cardiff. And
on this side, west of the 5 freeway, starting point, like for a scraper, I just saw one pop up on the market. I think it was today or yesterday, but it was, I think it was 572 square feet.
Yep.
Tiny place. It had to be, I mean, I don't even know, 1 bedroom maybe?
I guess.
Maybe studio, whatever you could fit in 572 square foot. But it came on just shy of $2 million. So it was a bigger lot, you know, it's good space. So basically somebody's gonna pay $2 million, come scrape that and then build, you know, their big, beautiful mansion style home right in Cardiff. So that's kind of like just to give you a little context of price points west of the 5. Now the footprint of Cardiff is pretty small. It's 92007 the zip code. One of the biggest amenities, which is also kind of a drawback if you're looking at like oceanfront homes, is the campgrounds. So it kind of blocks that whole section. It's right on the beach, overlooking the cliffs. Now, if you're local, obviously, yeah, you can go use it, but I think it just kind of gives a good separation from the beaches to the housing. So it's just a little bit more, you're not having, you know, like in Del Mar, houses right on the water. I mean, that could be a negative too. If you want an oceanfront home, Cardiff's not gonna be your spot, because even where we are, you know, you can't see the houses right behind us, but there are a handful of houses right on this lagoon back here, which has all the trails. We don't need to get into it again, but has all the trails cruising around, so you could just easy shot down here. They also have the coastal rail trail, which is about a mile or so going from like the heart of Cardiff up to Swami's. Bike, skate, whatever, bring the kids out. It's a nice, big, flat, wide open area.
And we're at the visitor center of the lagoon. We're like one of the main trailheads, which is really cool to check out. There's a whole bunch of like creatures in the visitor center, and it's just a good starting point if you want to hike around this area. Cardiff has the highest beach score, in our opinion, of North County coastal towns, and that is a 9. And a lot of this is just access. Cardiff has a huge stretch of beach on the south side, where you've got parking lots, although we just lost one. It's
got washed away.
Yeah, but there is a giant parking lot at the south side. It's a really popular beach for surfing, and this is also a stretch of beach too. We mentioned Dog Beach and Del Mar being off leash. This whole stretch of southern Cardiff beach is dogs on leash. So if you want to get up to the beach, walk your dog. If you're not into surfing or getting in the water, it's also a great stretch for that.
Even up and down when you get to the northern section, the cliffs, the bluffs do line it, but there's easy access. Like they just redid kind of all the parking in there, so it's like this back in, I don't know, whatever. It's just kind of funky parking, but there's plenty of it right there. And there's also a ton of little surf breaks in there too. So I think that's another bonus of Cardiff beaches.
Next up, we have Encinitas, which is going to be the most affordable out of the communities we're going to talk about, and that is coming in at $2.6 million for average price point for detached houses, just about $1,000 per square foot. So a lot of the reason that it's more affordable is there are a lot more homes than, say, Cardiff, where you have kind of starter homes kind of in the eastern portion. You've got big oceanfront homes. You've got a big mix of housing here in Encinitas.
Yeah, in Encinitas, once you get to that eastern section, you get it for well under, a detached home for well under that 2.6. I think there's an area called Village Park where homes are selling in that 1.4 to 1.6 million dollar range for their smaller footprint. They're 1,500 square foot, but you're still in this coastal community. And out of all the areas that we covered today, Encinitas is by far, I would say by far,
yeah.
Okay, by far the most convenient. As far as there's El Camino Real, and it just has this big stretch of everything you need. There's shopping stores, Trader Joe's, Sprouts. Then you go further down, you got Home Depots, you got Targets, you got Kohl's, you got all the other big box stores, anything you need. Then right to the north, you get Carlsbad, the Forum, a little high-end shops. But we're focusing on Encinitas. So you have all that right down there. So anywhere you're living, it's a quick shot down there to, you know, you're doing a little home improvement. Like I live in Encinitas and I'm hitting that Home Depot kind of all the time. It's like, you know, super quick, easy to get to.
And Encinitas also has kind of two sections of our coast highway amenities with the local restaurants and everything. You've got downtown Encinitas, which is on the south side, and then you have Leucadia on the north side.
So yeah, you get the bonus.
Yep.
We didn't say
bonus area.
We're not going to mention too many downtowns, but since you get this bonus one, and Leucadia is a big stretch too. Even though all the shopping and stuff is on the west side of the street, there's still plenty of spots to cruise down there. Regal Seagull, great beer spot. You got some brats. You got a cool spot just to go hang out. There is Little Solterra. They're creating, it's a little winery. They're making the wine right there as well. What else is down there?
Papagayo, you've got Fish 101, you've got El Especial Norte, which has been there forever. So there's a bunch of kind of newer spots too. So that section, Leucadia and downtown Encinitas have some really cool local restaurants and shops.
Now what about the beach score for Encinitas? Came in a little bit low, 6.5. So 6.5 out of 10. One of the main reasons being, so Solana got a 6. Once again, it's kind of the same setup where there's a lot of bluffs. There's only one main beach. In Encinitas, it's Moonlight Beach. But everywhere else, there's bluffs. And from Moonlight to Swami's, well, that's when you're getting into Cardiff, there's no stairs. I think there used to be stairs. You could look, I've been surfing out there, and you look up on the hillside, and there's like where stairs used to be, got washed away. Okay, I guess D Street, but that's right next to Moonlight Beach. And then as you go north, there's 3 access points, which I think are, like Cassidy mentioned, he said much better than like the Solana Beach access points. There's Neptune Ave, which has a bunch of parking. There's a little tiny parking lot at Beacon, which they're actually gonna redo and take a few of the spots out, so it's gonna be even smaller. So you can get down there. There is access points, but it's not super easy to get to.
And if you're looking for an oceanfront home, Encinitas on Neptune Ave has a bunch of homes that have their own beach access. So I'd say that ticks up the score of your beach score if you have your own little section of beach.
I'd probably put it like 9 or 10 if you have your own direct beach access, for sure.
Exactly. So if Neptune Ave or Encinitas is one of the areas, or maybe it's La Jolla, just a reminder, we are real estate agents here in San Diego, so reach out, ask any questions, and we've got your back when moving to San Diego.